Hi, my name is Jake Bain, and I am a cinematographer based out of Los Angeles, California. Today, I'm going to announce a plugin that I've spent the last year developing, and it's called DigiDiff. DigiDiff, in a nutshell, is a professional plugin built for Resolve that allows both colorists and cinematographers to emulate the look of optical diffusion filters, all in post. So whether you're trying to soften highlights or bloom light sources, DigiDiff gives you complete control over your image. So within DigiDiff, not only can you emulate the look of popular diffusion filters that you might see on everyday sets, you also have the power to create your own filter through our feature called DiffDesigner. DiffDesigner lets you create your own filters from scratch and save them as presets that you can use on future jobs. You can use it to create your own filters, or you can use it to literally match any filter used on set. So if you're color grading a project that you had no control over in terms of what diffusion was used on set, you can use DiffDesigner to create a preset that matches what was used on set. So DiffDesigner lets you break free from rigid presets and really gives you more creative freedom to develop a look that better fits your project. Now, before we jump into Resolve so I can show you what DigiDiff does exactly, I want to tell you a little bit about the ethos and what went into development. I'm a working cinematographer, and I'm lucky to be surrounded by professionals who live and breathe this every day as well. So their feedback, combined with my on-set experience, directly shaped how DigiDiff was built. So from the very beginning, our philosophy was simple: give more creative control to the artist, not less. So that being said, I do have to be explicitly upfront about one thing. DigiDiff was never meant to be a replacement for physical filters, and it's not. No piece of software, in my opinion, can replace what can practically be done on set, and DigiDiff will never claim to be that. Now instead, DigiDiff is designed to be an extension of practical filmmaking. In the same ways that digital film emulation is just an extension rather than a replacement of shooting on film, DigiDiff aims to do the same thing, but with optical diffusion. It lets you fine-tune the strength of diffusion, the size. You can mix characteristics from two different filters that you really enjoy, all with a precision that is only available in post-production. So in a nutshell, DigiDiff is about creativity and giving you more control over your final image. Now the last thing I'll say before we jump into DigiDiff is about ownership. When it comes to owning your tools, there's something that's really important to me. Recently, there's been a massive trend, especially in the creative software space, and that is locking software behind subscriptions. Now, I believe that unless you're offering a live subscription that evolves month to month, subscriptions are predatory, and that is not at all what DigiDiff is about. So whenever you purchase DigiDiff, you own it, straight up. It's a one-time purchase, you get 2 seats, and you're welcome to share that with a collaborator, split it with someone else, whatever you want to do. It's your decision, it's your money. I'm a creative myself, and I hate when subscriptions rip me off, so I'm not going to do the same to my colleagues, which might be you or other people you know. So because of that, DigiDiff, again, will always be a one-time purchase. All upgrades are free. That's that. They say be the change you want to be in the world. Well, I'm sick of subscriptions, so I'm gonna try to be that change. We're not doing it ever. So yeah. So I'll hop off my soapbox. At the end of the day, I created DigiDiff with one main purpose, and that is to create the best tool possible for myself and other professionals like me. So that's that. So without further ado, let's jump into Resolve, and I'll show you what DigiDiff's all about. Okay, so now we are in Resolve. And before we jump in, I just want to go over compatibility real quick. DigiDiff is currently compatible and available for both Mac and PC. When it comes to Mac, it is currently compatible with M-chip Macs. So any Mac computer that has an M series chip starting from the M1 all the way up to the M4 series and beyond. When it comes to Windows, it is currently supported by both Windows 10 and 11, as long as you have an NVIDIA GPU. We are looking to support Intel-based Macs with AMD GPUs in the near future, so keep an eye out for that update very soon. Now, off the bat, I do want to say that DigiDiff does support color managed workflows, meaning both ACES and DaVinci Resolve color managed workflows are supported. Within DigiDiff, under the input gamma dropdown, you will see both ACES CC and ACES CCT, as well as DaVinci Intermediate, which allows DigiDiff to be incorporated in color managed workflows really easily. You'll also notice that DigiDiff also supports virtually every camera profile that is currently available on the market. Now for our first example here, I'm going to show you how quickly DigiDiff can be used to obtain a great look for your project. This clip we have here is a clip from a music video that I shot, and it shows our subject singing into the reflection of a body of water that we found in a field. I can play it through and you can see our subject is performing to the camera through the reflection. I want this to feel pretty dreamy and almost ethereal. So I feel DigiDiff could be used to push this look further. If I click on DigiDiff and open up the preset tab, you can see that there are already a number of presets I can choose from. Whenever developing DigiDiff, I went to my local rental shop, I pulled out every diffusion filter that they had on hand and profiled it with DigiDiff and saved these as system presets that you can use in your projects. So if you want a diffusion look that looks similar to a black pro mist, we have that incorporated into DigiDiff. For this shot, I want to utilize a diffusion profile that's tighter to the subject and not as big. So I'm going to go with the soft effects preset. Now off the bat, it's hard to see what happened, but if I on off the DigiDiff node, you can see that it is a very subtle effect in its current state. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the overall strength so I can better see what the plugin is doing, and then I'm going to adjust my size to my liking. So again, I want the size of the diffusion for this shot to be tighter to the subject and not extend across my frame as much. So I'm going to use an overall size of 0.5. Now again, if I on off this, you can see that it's a fairly subtle effect, even with the strength pulled all the way up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my overall strength to about a 1.5. And I'm pretty happy with this look already. It's subtle, but it just adds a bit of dreaminess to my image. For this next shot, I have the same subject from this music video running through a field with a parachute. The shot is pretty backlit as the sun is just about to go below the mountains. So I feel I can use DigiDiff to kind of soften this look, again, match the dreaminess of that previous shot we just did, and overall just kind of give it more of a softer feeling. So I'm going to find a hero frame to work off of. We'll use this one here. And I'm going to again choose a preset so we can quickly get a good look. I'm going to use the Black Pro Mist. Now off the bat, this is really strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the strength so I can better see what is happening. And I'm going to tune my size. I like the diffusion size about right there, and I'm going to bring my size back down to something that I like, which is probably about a 0.75. Now, if I on off it, you can see what's happening here. I might even come down lower. I'm going to go down to a 0.5. So it's a subtle look, but it just softens the shot a bit. For this next shot, I'm going to showcase DiffDesigner and create our own diffusion from scratch. I have a locked off shot of our subject driving in a car along the beach, and I want to create my own diffusion fall off that'll look nice with his head silhouetted a bit behind the sun. I'm going to click on my exposure node, make sure the correct gamma is selected in my HDR wheels, and bring down my image about half a stop. Now I'm going to click on DigiDiff, open up the settings, and make sure my preset is set to custom. Now it is worth noting, you can start from scratch with custom when you boot up the plugin, or if you want to work off of a preset, you can click on a preset that you enjoy, then go back to custom, and the values of that preset will now open up for you to create your own preset. For now though, I do want to start from scratch, as I find starting from scratch easier to create your own presets. So I'm going to zero everything out and start from the beginning. I'm going to zoom in on our subject's face. Now, DiffDesigner allows you to develop your own diffusion filters by utilizing a 3-core system. So when developing DigiDiff, we did a lot of research and realized that diffusion filters and the bloom that is created by these filters often has 3 main areas. The core being the hotspot around bright sources of light, the body being most of the makeup of the diffusion, and fall off being the way that the diffusion rolls off from the core of the light source outward. I like to work from in to out, so I'm going to start with my core. Now, naturally, the core stays pretty tight to light sources. So what I'm going to do is keep my core fairly tight, about a 4, and then I'm going to bring down my strength to about a 0.5. Then I'm going to take my body, increase the strength to 1, and adjust my size here. I'm going to start with about an 8, and then bring my strength back down to about a 0.4. Lastly, I'm going to take my fall off, increase the strength to 1, increase the size, and I want this to kind of roll off across a longer distance. So I'm going to set my size to 30 and then bring my strength significantly back down to about a 0.15. Now from here, I can on off, and you can see that this is a nice subtle effect. Now, if I decide that I want the overall diffusion size to be larger as a whole, but keep the proportions between my cores the same, I can use my overall size. If I zoom in, you can see better what's happening here. I'm going to keep it at 1, and I can also adjust my overall strength as well. I want this to be fairly dreamy, but nothing too crazy. So I'm going to bring this to a 1, 2. And there we go. A diffusion preset that I've created myself specifically for this shot, and I can continue to use this if I save it as a preset. So I'm going to name this one Sunset Driving Scene. Save the preset, and now it's been added to my list. You'll see here, Sunset Driving Scene. Now, if I want to make a change or an update to this preset, I can do so by just adjusting a value. Let's say I reduce my core to a 0.3 strength. All I do is click Update Preset, and that'll be saved. So if I go to Dream Sequence and then back to Driving Scene, you'll see that now my core strength is back to a 0.3. I can also take it back to a 0.5, Update Preset, and it's now been saved. Now for this next shot, I'm going to showcase the flexibility that you can get with DigiDiff within Resolve using power windows to keep diffusion to local areas of your image. So for this shot, I have a subject here examining a VHS tape, and we have a bright window to the left of the frame that I want to contain my diffusion to. I want to make this window bloom and just keep the diffusion just to this window. I'm happy with everything else. Now the way you can do this within DigiDiff is to create a layer mixer, connect the DigiDiff node to the layer mixer, and then create a new corrector node, and also connect that to the layer mixer. Now the bottom node will be your power window, and you're going to create your power window where you want it. So I'm going to create mine on this window here. And I'm going to select a preset within DigiDiff. So I'm going to use the Black Pro Mist. Now you'll notice that the effect is currently reversed. It's on the outside of my power window. All I have to do is select this invert button, and it will then be contained to the inside of my power window. Now from here, I can soften the window like so. So there's no more hard boundary. And now my diffusion is contained to only the window. The rest of my image stays the same. You can adjust the strength and the size as normal. I actually want it to be not too large of a diffusion, but I do want it to be stronger. So there you have it. That's DigiDiff. I really hope you guys will like this. I spent a lot of time on this, and this is only the beginning. We have a ton of updates planned. We have a lot of features that we want to add. So it's only going to keep increasing in terms of the usability of this tool. We also love suggestions. And if you do pick up a copy of DigiDiff and use it on a project, please send it to me. I love to showcase work that was used with DigiDiff. So yeah, thank you for your time. And I hope you guys enjoy this plugin.